is Francesca Agucci, owner of Francesca Agucci Marketing, helping my clients garner relationships through social media, and I also post on their accounts too. Today I am with a polished photographer. Jason's work is actually in the background right now. I've had some experience working with him with some of my clients, and they've been very happy with the work that Jason provides. So Jason Ranalli is a headshot photographer, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey guys, my name is Jason Ranalli. I'm a commercial headshot photographer here in Philadelphia. Happy you invite me here. I'm happy to have this conversation with you and all the stuff we're going to talk about. I've been doing photography for a while here in Philadelphia, and I have had the pleasure of working with some of your clients, and they were wonderful clients. So I hope to get more of those kinds of clients, and that's some of what we're going to talk about today, right?
Definitely. So let's talk about the quality. Why does quality matter? And quality is something that's subjective depending on the viewer. You and I both have the type of business where we're able to relate and we scale towards a similar type of client.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's take a step back, actually. When we first met at one of the chamber events, right? So I go to these chamber events. I get business cards, and I meet all kinds of different people and stuff. I'm always interested in what people are doing. So I collect the business cards, I look them up on LinkedIn or whatever their social media accounts, and a lot of times people don't even have social media accounts. But you had social media accounts, you had a lot of visual representation, so
yes.
I saw right off the bat that you were putting yourself out there, but it was in a very high quality way. So you were doing photography, it was very high quality. In the real estate market, all the social media stuff is very polished. So naturally, I kind of gravitated towards that. And so here we are collaborating months down the line. But to go back to your original question, when we talk about quality, there's lots of different gradients of quality. I think that in any business that you do, you can be the very high-end, fancy Italian restaurant, or you can be those hot dogs at the gas station and stuff. But I mean, there's a place for everybody in the market. And I don't want to say that nobody should be hitting those lower ends of the market. But I think for us and what we've discovered, for our clients at our market, we tend to gravitate towards the higher end because the nature of our products and just demand that. We need those kinds of clients to exist. And those are the kinds of clients that we actually serve best.
Right, and just going back to what you said, you took a look at my social media platforms and determined my skill level and the quality of output
Absolutely.
that I provide to clients based off of what I put out there. And just, to specify, you didn't see iPhone photos, right?
No way. So, and it's funny. So
just to clarify.
Absolutely, yeah. I've been in other markets, and so one of your specialties as far as your marketing is obviously your real estate photography.
Right.
And so, in other markets, I will just throw out like New York and LA, like we discussed. Some
Yes.
very high-end stuff going on there. Even on the headshot side, for some reason, those cities tend to be a couple steps ahead of Philadelphia for whatever reason when it comes to these visual representations and stuff.
Right.
When we talk about products. Most people in Philly were doing like really low-end stuff and was stuff with iPhones, and they're selling these high-end properties with iPhones. I'm like, you have a $5 million property here out on the main line or out in Rittenhouse Square, and you're taking pictures of an iPhone. Like, that does not serve that seller justice, you know?
It's an iPhone, or it's the realtor has the camera, right? And the realtor is like, I'm going to be a photographer too, or I'm an interior designer, I'm going to be a photographer too. It's about like focusing in on what they do and then hiring the professional to do what they do best. Since you pointed out markets like New York City, Los Angeles, and Miami type of market, these are markets who are in a different level completely, geographically, socioeconomically. So those types of points really come into play when us as business owners, no matter where our location is, how we serve our client and potentially deliver that type of quality work. And you and I can say that we deliver a really specific niche quality of work where a potential client looks at our website, our social media, and they say, wow, this is something I'm 100% able to do, or I can't afford this. This is not something that's for me. Let me take something that's a little bit less than.
Yeah.
You and I are here to talk to the client who's ready for quality. And just to be more specific, how would you define your work as quality?
Okay, so I think that, oh man, when I came on the scene in Philly doing headshots, I think that and I still get this misconception to this day, about what headshots really are.
Right.
Everyone thinks of headshots as kind of like these old, dated yearbook phototype things with the horrible muslin background, and like everyone's just sitting there like this and stuff, and it's not. It was that maybe back in the 90s and earlier 2000s, and there's still people putting out that kind of work for their clients and stuff, and that's great. But there was a commercial aspect to it that was missing, and so this is what I saw was missing in the Philly market. There was a clear void in Philly, and there was a need for a higher end headshot, and that really meant to take away some of the dated look to it, add a little bit more punchy lighting. We're adding a little bit more of I use more of a commercial lighting setup rather than just coming out with one of those little shoot-through umbrellas that I showed you earlier that you might see when you got your yearbook photo back in whenever.
Right.
But we're also really focusing on expressions and facial expressions and the representation of the person, how they want people to perceive them. It's not just getting a picture. Okay, if I just
it's not just.
Yeah, I mean, if I just stood you against the backdrop over there and said, say cheese, you're going to get the same stuff that we've been getting here all this time. So, I became aware of a whole new way of shooting, and I wanted to bring that to the Philly market. So it comes with a lot of coaching. I'm spending a lot of time with the clients to get those facial expressions out of them and to show them in the most compelling way possible. And for some people, it's turning their head a little bit this way. Some people it's turning their head a little bit that way. Some people it's having the hair on this side. Though it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
It's up to me to try to work with them, to customize it so they get the best headshot possible. Not just a one-size-fits-all, snap, 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 we're done, see you later. So it's a little bit more of an involved process.
And going into a headshot, I've gotten some headshots, and just from observing you with one of my clients, the mindset is either one, they're very excited, they're comfortable on camera, or two, they're not comfortable on camera and they're doing this because they have to.
Yeah.
Just from observing you have a way about you where you're getting the client comfortable on their level in order to have their personality shine through the picture.
I have to. If I don't have, and I do that because if I don't have an expression, I've got nothing. I could have the best lighting in the world. I could have all this fancy photography gear. It counts for nothing if I can't find a way to connect with that person and kind of just pull out of them what they actually already have inside them. Because I think that when people get in front of a camera, and even I get like this, we're taping here today, you get a little bit freaked out at first, like, oh God, people are going to see me, and we kind of get a little bit like a deer in headlights. But the reality is, the more time you spend in front of the camera and you have someone kind of guiding you through the process, the more you tend to loosen up. And then when you start to loosen up, you start to make real facial expressions that are genuine, compelling, and vibrant, just like we're having a real conversation here now. And that's what their clients want to see, so I have to bring that to them.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone needs to smile.
No.
What does that mean? Because there are some people who are not smiling.
Absolutely, yeah. There's, it's different for everybody, and I really leave it up to this is where kind of it becomes custom for the client, Okay. I would say as a whole, for the business side and corporate side, they're going to generally want to look fairly confident looking, like they're competent, but they also want to look friendly as well. But I've also had some lawyers that have come in here where they don't want to appear so friendly, but that's their reason is that, they're out there in litigation from day to day and they want to know that they're going to, kick some tail for their clients.
Yeah.
So they want to look a little bit tougher. I would say, so that we're not going to go with a big open smile. We're going to, kind of close down their eyes a little bit and, still give them a compelling expression and so that they're look like they know what they're talking about, but they don't need the big smile. So it differs for everybody. That's what I would say.
Okay. And when you're working with clients, are they all, right now we're in Jason's studio. And
yes, this is
I love your studio. Does everyone come here or do you go to them?
So most of my clients will come here in this space.
Okay.
So this is where I spend most of my days. But for larger corporate gigs, where they want me to come out, I will pack all this stuff up that you see. Wow. We'll get it all packed up. I cart it to the place that they're doing business and stuff. And if an executive team of 15 people want me to come out for the day, I will come out and shoot them for the day. And I'm there to kind of help them and guide them the same way that we do in the studio here. So the process is pretty much the same. The only difference is I'm bringing all the gear to them. And that's kind of like it's like a bit of a white glove service that I give them. And I've done entire companies that way as well.
Okay. So you're making it easier and a more comfortable situation for the company to choose you because it's less thought for them because you're going to them, which
Yep.
that alone is a quality within a service.
Yeah.
Because you are saying, this client is valuable enough to me that I am going to them to give them a better experience overall.
Yeah.
And that's what quality is.
Yeah, and that's what we try to do. Yeah, it's absolutely what we try to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to actually like qualifying a client, is there a specific direction that you take?
Well, I always love to get on the phone with people to really, kind of see where they're coming from. So I think up until this point, I've kind of shied away from automatic bookings like online and stuff like that because I really want to talk to the people on the phone
Right.
and like kind of get in their head and like see what they really need before I just go and even just selling my stuff because I'm not a natural salesman. I just want to give people the best product that I can, but I need to hear their story and what they're looking for in order for me to do that. So I will get them on the phone and if they're coming to me and they're just looking for something that's really just, quick and dirty, in and out, 5 minutes. I just need a headshot. I'm probably not the best photographer choice for them. They're probably better off going with somebody
like someone
just
who
like in and
can
out.
come out in a couple days. Like
Yeah, I think there's.
You're a couple weeks in advance when.
Yeah, I'm booked a couple weeks in advance pretty frequently. So I mean, there are times where I have like a scheduling changes and I can squeeze some people in here and there. But generally, like I'm 2 or 3 weeks out. So it's a little bit more of you have to kind of put a little bit of thought in the process. The second thing is. A lot of the success that we see here, and to get some of these headshots behind me, it's a collaboration. So in and out doesn't necessarily work, I'm pretty good at pulling expressions out of people in a shorter amount of time than most headshot photographers because it's what I specialize in. But it does take time. So they're going to have to be willing to come in here and spend a little time with me, an hour, hour and a half, and we're going to work through different garments and find out what works best for them. So when I get on the phone, I broach some of these points with them and kind of see if they're kind of line with my mindset and how I want to work. And more importantly, are they just willing to collaborate? Because really, look, as good as work as I can do in here, I'm no good if they're not willing to collaborate, It is a collaboration of the day, just like with your clients, If you were to walk into a property and they left the place a complete mess and they weren't willing to work with any of your hints, you can only do so good of a job at the end of the day, right? So it's the same thing here. I'm looking for people to collaborate with, and so I love that collaborative experience. It's how we get the best headshots. So those are the clients that I'm looking for. I won't turn the other people away, but I definitely love the clients that come in with an open mind and want to take that time and collaborate with me.
Right, and just to backpedal for a minute, Jason and I met at a Chamber of Commerce event. He and I had the common factor that we both are niche within a photography business. Now, my main business is marketing. Marketing, especially with social media, is more about the photography because of social media. So I use my skills in photography for the residential and commercial side of properties. And I just want to put some comparisons out there because you have the quality service, and the way I go through with qualifying and putting my business out there is the client will go to my website. I have everything very spelled out when it comes to the process of my marketing plan. Everything's out there. So for me...
And another thing is that, on your website, not to interrupt, but
no,
another thing. So on your website, I only see stuff that is relevant to your business, right? And what you do on a daily basis. And same thing with my website. When you go on my website, there's so many photographers out there, and one of the biggest mistakes I see with anyone that's starting a business, you go on their website, and it's not really clear what it is that they do, right? And what they're photographing. I see dogs and cats and some weddings, and there's some headshots and some other gallery over here. But with your website, again, it's very clear what you do. So that's almost like a pre-qualify in a sense, right?
Definitely.
And so when people visit my website, they just see headshots and things centered around headshots, because that's all I do. All I do is headshots. I'm not doing weddings. I don't do really corporate events or anything like that. So it's a like you said, it's a niche within a niche. So the marketing and that pre-qualifying kind of has to go hand in hand there,
Right. And the quality component is somebody goes to my website. So how people find me is social media, email marketing, or a word of mouth person. They go to my website and immediately they see marketing, the social media marketing plan, and they see photography. Photography is residential and commercial. And like you were saying, I point out who my ideal client is on my website, because I want the client to even say, am I appropriate to get on the phone with Francesca? Because by the time they sign up, I pre-qualify them before I even get on the phone with them.
Totally.
So the process, all right? So you're a real estate agent or an interior designer looking to do monthly marketing with me. You go to my website, fill out a short form of what you're looking for, and I get the email. Before I even email the person back, I Google them. I
do the same thing. I do the same thing because I want to see where they're coming from, so I can have an educated conversation with them before I even call them back. You know, I don't want to cyber stalk them, but I just want to know, like, you know, what are their needs around, and can I kind of garner idea around what it is they're really looking for. You know, what have they had? What kind of quality work have they had done before? Maybe they've had a headshot done before, and I can see it. And I can say, okay, I can clearly see that, you know, we can make some improvements here. You know, so it just allows both of us to have a better educated conversation.
Okay, this is what they're lacking, this is potentially why they're contacting me, and this is how I see myself fitting within their business, because I have a high level of commitment and investment from my client.
Yeah, totally.
So it's, you know, a little bit more of a process to bring on the client, so I make sure that they're really the right fit, because when we get on the phone, the client may realize, okay, yes, this is the process for me, because I have this amount of money to invest. I really need someone to handle all my social media. And that's where the quality comes into. Why I have, you know, professional photos, professional video, doing the Instagram live, making sure everything is crisp and clean and to brand, like you do. You have a specific brand, and your audience becomes attracted to you because of what you put out there.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's even more critical for your brand and the way that you work because, you know, headshots, I mean, I have ongoing client relationships with companies, but it's more of a discrete product. So someone will come in for a headshot. I may not see them again for another 3 years or whatever, 5 years, whenever they decide to update their headshot again, or if they refer me other work. But for you, since you are building a very long relationship with them of work, you're working on their social media, you're helping with their website, you're doing their branding, like, that's not like a 3-hour thing.
Right.
That's
monthly.
That's like a 3-year thing and ongoing, right? So you have to even be more careful about how you're vetting people, so that you're bringing on people that you can truly help and that truly want to work with you in the way that you work best, you know, and get the best product. You know.
Definitely, which is why, you know, you'll go on my website and on the marketing plan page you will see, hi, are you a real estate agent, a home builder, or another professional looking. So I spell it out. I give the common traits whenever I'm marketing to a client. I really make sure I'm marketing to their economic level and the demographics to a T, because I have to be able to relate to them. I have to be able to put out the type of work that they're looking for their client, because they work in an affluent environment, whether it's nationally, internationally, or within specific areas. Their client has a quality, elegant type of style that I need to be able to convey within images and marketing plans too. So when you are on the phone with a client, what is the process where do you close the deal on that first phone call? Do you get back to them and send them a proposal? What does that second step look like before you're
for corporate clients, it's definitely a bit more of an involved process because they're usually vetting several different photographers. So just to give you a bit of background, and you probably know this from, you know, Google and social media and stuff, you know, when a marketing manager from a company is looking to get, you know, headshots done for their company. What do you mean, what's a company?
Well, I just want to get specifics. So like, a company, is that like a 10-person company, a 20-person company, or 200-person
Yeah, let's say like a 50-person accounting firm. Okay, so they'll have like a marketing person working there. And, you know, if they haven't had any referrals thus far, they're probably just going to go on Google and just call a bunch of the photographers on there and get proposals and stuff. And many times, they are probably shopping a bit more on price due to budget constraints from the company. So, you know, there's a couple different things that are going on there that are different than the individual clients, but they're going to get a couple proposals and stuff. So when we go back to the initial phone call, you know, I'll find out as much about their project as I possibly can on the phone. You know,
do you have a a question onboarding type of process that you go through where you ask specific questions?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
How many people,
Good.
when do they need it done by, you know, where do they need it done? Are there any space constraints? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, if you want me to travel out there, do you have enough space for me to shoot? First off,
Yeah.
like, I didn't ask that question like early on. Like, do you have enough space for me? Like, thinking that they would have a conference room, and like you show up and you're like in this closet and stuff, like trying to make like you can't get good headshots like that.
Yeah.
You have to have a little bit of space. So you learn these questions as you get deeper in your business.
Okay.
You know, so early
Oh,
this-
I even have a list on Google Doc. I open it up
Yeah.
and I'm on the phone.
Exactly. Yeah, I have it on a notepad, like right by the computer. So, you know, how many people? When do you need it done by? How soon? You know, how soon you need it retouched by? If they want all the retouching and stuff like that. Do you need makeup artists for the females?
Okay.
Do you need guidance on dress and clothing and stuff like that? Do you need stylistic guidelines? Do you want, you know, what kind of backgrounds do you want and things like that? So there's a couple standard questions that I ask, and then from those questions, that usually turns into a conversation, and we'll go into some other things that they're, you know, and they have questions for me too, you know, and so we'll kind of tackle a lot of that stuff out front, and then from then I can generate a proposal. I'll generally send that proposal off the same day or the next day based on their requirements, and you know, I will follow up with them probably a couple days after, something like that. But you know, usually they'll call me back and say, hey, we're interested or we're not interested.
Right.
It's not within our budget. We're looking for, you know, you are what we're looking for. We love it. We love the style, or we're looking for something that's more, you know, budget conscious or whatever. You know, and that's, you know, it goes both ways with corporate gigs. Now with the person, with the individuals, that's a little bit different of a process. So 9 times out of 10, I do have people finding me on Google. Well, I have to answer some of the same questions, but I've been really blessed with awesome clients who have given me great referrals. So a lot of these phone calls, I'm literally booking them on the spot because they already know what I'm about. I've already done a session with their friend, a family member, a coworker, something like that. So it's almost as like they have like 1 or 2 questions for me, and it's like, when can I come in? So because I've been blessed with great clients who've been referring me more work, those conversations are usually quicker and easier, and they already kind of know what I'm about in a sense.
Right.
So that's where referrals really come in, you know, come in handy, and having that great referral network and really good clients that you've worked with in the past.
I
So,
definitely empathize with that type of
yeah,
process
you know.
too, because someone contacts me through Squarespace, little tag, I love Squarespace.
Right.
So I get the Squarespace email because they contacted me through that. They fill out a couple of the questions, and I say, okay, we schedule a phone call, I get on the phone, I pull up, I have about 8-10 questions that I ask them. So who my client is, it's either an individual realtor, an individual interior designer, and so on, or it's a 10-person less firm or agency that's a building company, developers, commercial realtors, and that's what the span is of the type of people who are contacting me, because I always want to make sure who my main contact is, how do they see me fitting within their business, the type of roles that I'll be taking on. And I always go through and ask my questions, but before I get started, I make sure that I'm answering the client's questions first, because oftentimes they say, you know, the first email I send after or before the phone call, after they initially sign up, is me saying, here's a link to my marketing page, here's a link to my client work. A lot of upfront questions are on my website, a lot of the work, that way the repetitive energy of questions are avoided. Oh, send me some client work. Okay, well, I already did because it was in the email.
Yeah.
And we've got all that taken care of. A benefit is for someone to actually be in front of their computer with me, so we are able to screen share, look at the marketing plan together and the client work. Those are the 2 most important pages. Go through it all and sort of pick out which package is best. I have 3 example packages on my website. Sometimes they like to tailor it just depending on what their needs are. There's always a specific starting price or a specific package to start and move up from. That way we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
And then really when it comes to onboarding is I send them the proposal and we just get started. We really just move from there. Everything starts immediately.
Exactly, yeah. And so have you found that since you've been doing all the stuff on social media, really explaining your process, like I see you do almost every day, do you find that when you started doing that, that changed the tone of some of those conversations?
When I started doing
or after you started doing that stuff for a while, so that people
like
see you
social
out there,
media.
social media, and really having a very like well done website where people kind of already know what you do in a sense. So like, they may have questions and stuff, but they're like, well, I've been following Francesca for a while here. I kind of see her process a little bit. I mean, I do have some questions and stuff, but I like it and I think I'm down with it. So do you find that has changed some of the tones of the calls that you've gotten?
Well, let me tell you something interesting, right? So my business centralizes around me managing my clients' social media, website, and email marketing.
Right.
So my ideal client, the clients that I work with, every single client I work with on marketing is not active on social media at all. They maybe check social media once a month.
Right.
Here's how I know that they're on social media. So I were to look at a client's social media, the posts are automated. So they use a simple post scheduler, they automate the post, and I know what it looks like because I'm that good.
Yeah.
Because there's a link or I can just tell by the
Yeah.
way it's written out
Absolutely.
that it's automated. So I'm like, okay. So it's brand new. So that client finds me on email, that client finds me on the internet. Email marketing is my #1 source of clients right now.
Really?
It's really strong. My email marketing, I send out 2 or 3 emails a month. I do different segmentations as well. And I always look on different websites. I really focus in on building through LinkedIn. So that's how that individual who's not on social media sees me.
Okay.
And that's really my strongest suit of marketing. So when it comes to that conversation, they don't have the social media to initially rely on. It's more of what I've sent them through email.
Oh, wow, okay.
So so for me it's a different type of process. I love being on social media because I have to be good at social media, right? I
Absolutely,
have to,
yeah.
I always like to say because sometimes I'm like, I wish I had more followers because I'd be better. But I can't focus on the numbers right now. I just focus on the output of the work that I provide to clients. And as far as garnering leads through social media, I do that and I have a fun story to tell you. I do that because I reach out and I message people on direct message one at a time. I find people, I qualify them and then I message them. And that's how I gain clients through social media. Yesterday, I met with a group of people. And I asked them, how are you doing on social media? This is not a potential client, this is just a business connection.
Right.
And she was like, we're on LinkedIn, I have hundreds of people, and no one's messaging me.
Yeah.
So let me say.
Because it just happens out of nowhere, right?
Listen to the way she said, no one is messaging me.
Yeah.
So here's the mentality. She put herself out on LinkedIn like many people do, or on social media, and expected all this gratification to come back.
It doesn't work like that.
And expected, all these clients are going to flood in, I'm going to make 6 figures this year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that happens, but you have to be the go-getter.
Yeah.
That's what I do for clients. I'm the one messaging their potential clients on social media directly.
Yeah.
So we're both on social media or doing email marketing, however we are gaining clients, but it's in totally and completely different ways to really get to that end point where I'm saying, let's get started.
Yeah.
And when a client turns around with me, we have the conversation. It's typically an hour conversation or 30 minutes, just depending. I'll hear back from them 24 hours or potentially a week later.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, depending on where the person's at, it's a little bit more of a thought process.
Right, of course.
So I make sure to follow up.
I've had people follow me for months.
Follow you on social media?
Yeah, literally follow me on social media for months. I think the longest time was maybe 9 months. And it was a woman, and she was looking for headshots for her business, and she followed me for 9 months. All the posts and stuff.
How'd she find you? Do you know?
She just found me on Instagram, where I'm fairly present on there, on almost daily basis. And she would follow me for 9 months. She says, "Well, I figured after 9 months you were probably decent at what you do, so I'll book a headshot with you." But I find that being consistent and putting your stuff out there, being genuine. Also, the other thing with social media is you can't just, like you said, you can't just sit there and expect people to just follow you and message you. Yeah.
Egotistical.
It can't all just be about you.
the
So I
word,
think a big thing about social media that if you're not doing well on social media and you're not getting at least leads off there, you have to engage other people. Now, I don't generally direct message clients or leads or whatever, but I engage so many people. The people I message on a daily basis on Instagram,
Engage with.
Yeah, like
Okay.
engage them and like promote their businesses and
So like you'll comment in the comment
absolutely,
section.
because
Okay.
there's tons of businesses around the Philly area that are doing so many neat things. It could be a bakery, it could be a hair salon, it could be
Definitely.
anybody.
Yeah.
So that we're all trying to make a living doing what we love. So it's
Right.
better to have these collaborations and boost people up. And I found that when you engage people and genuinely care about their business, you just get more goodwill back from it. So I've had people just follow me because they found me commenting on other people's feeds and stuff like that. And I've made friends around the area doing that, and I've gotten leads from their friends. So it's kind of weird how this kind of works out, but I think it goes back to you have to engage people, you have to put yourself out there, and you have to be genuine in doing so and being consistent by putting out consistent material.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's all about like having a clean, consistent type of product and vibe with whatever your business is.
Yep.
And when you find that you actually like are going through the experience. So we talked about quality, our process, how we convert clients, and like that onboarding process. The next step is experience, because what you and I provide is an experience from the time we book their appointment that day or the monthly basis.
Yep. Yeah,
What would
absolutely.
you say your experience is?
Well, I try to make it as white glove as possible for people. Like I said, when
What's white glove?
White glove means that I'm going to take care of them from the time I get off the phone with them to the time that I deliver their final retouch pictures and even after. So
Okay.
I think, like I said, there's a lot of photographers in Philly. There's tons of people that do headshots in some capacity, but they're not spending the amount of time with people in the studio to really craft their headshot with them.
Right. And sometimes like you're even meeting them on the street.
Yeah,
Like,
like
hey,
okay, so
street
here's
outside.
this is a major
Uh-oh,
this is a major pet peeve of mine. Headshots outside, like on the street, like you cannot. That doesn't work, guys. Because the person doesn't feel comfortable. So that's not a white glove experience to be standing out in the street, have everyone looking at you, and then like you look like a deer in headlights. It's probably in the middle of summer or maybe it's spring. You could be sweating. There's wind blowing your hair.
Yeah.
The photographer's probably sweating too. Like it just doesn't make for a very comfortable expression on your face, which is what you ultimately want at the end of the day, because we're only going from here to here. So we're not shooting outside. I don't do outdoor headshots for that reason. So I bring them in here and we're kind of pampering them, especially if it's a female that's going with something that's very high end. I work with like the best commercial makeup artists in Philadelphia. All right, we have them come in here and they're literally pampering my clients with makeup and hair before we even get in front of the camera. So we're sitting here for 45 minutes and talking, and they're just kind of getting done up and getting comfortable with the space before we even start shooting. So that's a great way. It's a great segue into shooting, is having your hair and makeup done.
Right.
So I love that. It's another part of the white glove service. The other thing is
right, because as a woman, I'll even say like the first thing is, ooh, I want to look good. Or even the man, let me get my hair cut, let me get my hair done, when am I going to do this? Oh, I have to do that. So they have to schedule everything in. But you provide, hey, just come here a little bit early and get your makeup done.
Yeah, we kind of take care of as much of it as we can for them so they don't have to worry about it. And it's not that, a lot of it has nothing to do with like, there's everyone wears their makeup well, but there's a little bit difference in the type of makeup that's used for commercial headshot photography versus, what you might wear on a Saturday night or out in the street and stuff like that. Because the camera shows a lot of detail and stuff. We want people to look their best. So by having a proper commercial makeup artist in here, we're able to give them a better headshot and a better product at the end of the day. The other big thing about the experience is that with that coaching, I see, and this is another thing I see with headshot photographers, is
Coaching?
their lack of coaching, and also the lack of coaching, and also they'll be reviewing shots on the back of the little camera, and like the little screen on the back of the camera, and like if I look at the little screen of the
on your camera.
Yeah, on my camera, and you can't really see a whole lot of detail there, So
on a 1-inch screen.
Yeah, a 1-inch screen, so everything looks good, right? So I'm shooting into like a way bigger laptop, so that every 20 shots I'm bringing the client around.
Nice.
We're looking at the shots together,
right?
And this is where the coaching comes in, right? So I show them like, you did this awesome. Let's work this angle again. Let's turn your head a little bit this way. We're going to keep playing with that side that looks so well on you. Or I'll say, oh, you know what? That top we had on, it's just not making your eyes pop as much as the other one. Let's go back to the other top that we had, and we're going to change it back up. So we use that as a tool to get them a better product and to aid in that collaboration.
Right. Because you're being transparent with them.
Absolutely.
The person on the other side's even thinking, what do I look like? What do I look like? What do I look
Yeah.
like? So before the photo shoot ends, or every little bit, you're saying, come here, let me show you, because I could look like I'm the happiest person right now, but maybe I look afraid.
Right. So I wanted to know, I mean, sans retouching, they're going to pretty much look, they're going to know exactly how they look before they even leave the studio here, which is when I found out what like a lot of other people are doing, like people are going home and they don't know till they get the final pictures back that, you know, they didn't have the top that they wanted, or
Right.
their makeup wasn't right, or something like that. Like, you know, that's why we do this here. We use these tools to make it a better experience for them and to ultimately just give them a little bit higher of a brow product at the end of the day.
Definitely. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, when you work with a client, it's a collaboration, they're there.
Yeah.
When I work with a client, they're not there, right? Because when I'm doing,
So what do you do? So what do you do if you walk? I just have to ask the question. What do you do if you walk into a property and you know you were hoping things are going to be staged and clean and stuff? You know, how do you manage those less than ideal situations?
So let me just point out for everyone, I own a market, and I say this a lot because I always want to clarify. My business, Francesca Marketing, centralizes around marketing, and photography, residential, commercial, is a major component of that.
Right.
Anyway, so we have that clarified. So for the photography process, the client's like, 2 days, I need you.
Yeah, it's hard.
I've gotten that before. I seriously have, because what the thing is the selling a house is a huge process. So the last thing on a realtor's mind, and I'm hoping this is not the case for everyone, is, oop, let me call the photographer, have her come tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, next week. You know, because at this point, I understand my value, I understand the time, and the clients that I work with do as well. So I'll say, you know what, it's Monday. Wednesday I'm not available. How about Friday, or how about next Monday?
Yeah.
It's sunny those days, or there's going to be a nice sunset for the person who wants twilight photos. I structure the photo shoot because it's outside. The sunlight affects the way the interior shots are going to take, around the weather, and around my schedule, in unison with the client's schedule, because it needs to be scheduled in advance, because I work very much like my Google calendars, like my life, everything has to be on the schedule in advance. That way I'm giving myself enough time to prep and ask the right questions. First question, is the property staged? Yes, the property staged, it's fully staged, the stager went in, all the objects are on the table. Or I'll go in a completely empty property, which is fine. I prefer staged. I know at this point a great interior designer, a stager, who my client is able to use in order to get the best results. I always press the best results, and that's where quality comes in with my business. You're selling a property, you need furnishing in that property. You need to make the property look like it's an elegant lifestyle that your potential client's going to want to live in, whether it's a newlywed couple or people upsizing because they just got a big job promotion.
Yeah.
And that's, so you were saying, oh, what if you walk into a property and it's dirty, right? So I always make sure make sure the property's clean. Please make sure everything's clean up. A lot of my clients are really great about that. One thing I don't do is I don't move anything. So if there's a big pole on the table, I'm not moving that pole.
Yeah.
I was hired to photograph the property, little bits and pieces here, or there, little bits and pieces there. I will move. Otherwise, big objects are staying where they are because it's a liability on myself, and I just want to get in, take the photos, and leave. Because the client is always aware of what their property looks like. And just getting back to it, relating back, you said your process is a collaboration with a person, whereas my process, most of the time the client's not with me when I'm running their social media accounts. I'm working at it by myself. But my client and I have monthly check-ins, we do email communications weekly. That way I'm able to update them on the way their accounts are functioning. A lot of the times they're entrusting in me about the process, about the fact that I'm going to convey them in the best way online. They're able to see all the posts in advance before they go out. They're able to see the email before they go out.
And there's an element of trust there too, because you're, from a marketing perspective, when
they have to put trustworthiness into me before they
Because you're kind of
sign a contract.
Yeah, they're their
And
voice
a
in
lot
a
of
sense
times
across
that's
a lot of different
right.
places.
And that's the one component that they need to face and move forward with is
Yeah.
the trustworthy factor, because there are some people who just can't, like, may not be able to say, well, I don't know, like, the person who understands what someone like me, social media marketing, is going to do for them, understands. There are some people who just will never understand, and they're not my client.
Yeah.
Because if I have to convince you or follow up 20 times in a span of a time, you're not my client.
Yeah.
I have great clients who I work with and I love working with, and a lot of them are located here, a lot of them are located nationally, because I have that span within my business where I'm able to work with people. And I just say, you know what, let it happen. You're going to see the results in time, because I have great client work on my website.
Yeah.
And a lot of times somebody were to ask for referrals, I don't do client referrals because there's work on my website already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I like to keep, the privacy with my current clients already.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the process. A lot more involved, a lot more just trust. It's a lot more trustworthiness in that I'm the person, because I've been showing all that information on social media, the client work, I consistently update everything. And that's what it is at the end of the day. People have to trust you.
There has
You
to be
have
trust.
to trust the process and the experience that comes with it.
Yeah,
because-
you're absolutely right. So trusting the process is huge. And even here, for an hour and a half headshot session, there has to be a trust in the process, I can understand that there are people are usually skittish at first and stuff when they come in here. Totally get it.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to be in front of a camera. I don't like being in front of a camera, so I completely get it, right? So we work the process, but they do need to trust the process at some point. So at some point, I have had one or two clients early on when they've come in here where after an hour and a half, they're still just cannot let me help them, and it's hard. So that gets really difficult and stuff. So it does come down to trusting the process, but that goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is by showing people what you do and how you work and the kind of quality work that you do, it's easier to get the clients that buy into your process.
Definitely.
It's huge. That's huge, right?
Whenever it's whoa, pressing an easy button.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's not easy, but it's just you trust yourself, and they're entrusting in you, and you know this is going to work out.
Yep.
Because you're confident in the way your business is working. So what did we go? We went over a lot of points.
A lot of different stuff here.
Started out with, so overall it's about a experience, a lifestyle experience for headshot, lifestyle for marketing. Starting off with the quality of the work, the process, the way we onboard and convert clients, and the overall experience, because a great positive experience is going to bring more people into our business.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So Jason,
All right.
What's going on? Do you have any projects or any social media handles to give out to promote?
Yes, so you can see more of my work at jranalliheadshots.com. You can see me on Instagram at jranheadshots. My Facebook handle is the same, so I'm always posting content there on the Near Daily. You can always see updated headshots and kind of what I'm up to and about, who I'm collaborating with, just as I am here today. So yeah, you can find me there and see more of my work. And
Jason's handles will be on the video. Jason posts every day, so he has my social media check. He's certified. He does well.
Have your stamp of approval.
Stamp of approval.
That means a lot. You're a tough customer, I know.
Yeah.
Good.
And you know where to find me because you're already here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.
Thank you.